In this video, I want to show my progress of my platformer Unity game. Um, so we'll start off first with the main menu, of course. So the name of the game is Lio the Bat Secrets of the Orb. Before it was called Lio and Ori, Legacy of the Guardians, but I changed the name. Um, so we'll start the game here. It doesn't take too long to load. There we go. So whenever the game is launched from the main menu, we cannot continue the game or load the game because we do not have a save file. In order to create a save file, we have to create a new game, of course. So we click on new game. Here it says to select the save file to load. So click on new game. So we have some audio, and I will discuss the audio system in a few minutes. But first of all, the music's a bit too loud, so 20 seconds in the video of the heads. We'll count the music a little bit lower. And the ambience. And the SFX as well. So this is the main player. His name is Lio. So this is my little platformer area or part of the tutorial. So over here it says press space to jump. First, press space to jump. Press space twice to double jump. Of course. So collect all these coins for now. So what I've been trying to do throughout the development of this game, same in games like Mario, it's called a coyote timer. So what I've been trying to do is, if you press space once to jump, we do a short jump. If you press and hold space, you can do a longer jump. And of course that applies to the double jump as well. So we go to this side here. Right click mouse. You can do a little attack on the if you right click on the mouse. Or if you do R as well, you can do a spin attack. Push the out. So the audio you can hear that the wind is very high. But you can, that's normal. Just set down the ambience to low for the moment and also the music. So here, just collect these coins. Jump it through here. So over there, as we jump into the little platform, that little cube or rock, it fell down because it was being supported by these pillars, of course, as you can see. So if we stun on them for 3 seconds, it will fall. Same rules apply to this rock. So if we go into here, it does fall. So each enemy will drop these orbs. The red one is for the health and the green one is for the experience. So as we see, we're level 1 with 49 out of 100 experience. We collect both. The experience goes up and my health also goes up. So here it says press Q to echolocate. So echolocation is an ability that I wanted my bat to have. What echolocation does is it allows the player to find hidden objects throughout the scene and detect also enemies. So at the moment, as we can see there, there is a few enemies. But if you go close to the wall here, as you can see, there we can see the enemies. You can see them walking as well. So a very cool little ability that I've added. So go through here, the wall goes down, and there's the enemies. Press Q again, and there they are. Just kill these real quick. So spin attack does like three damage, while spin attack does the double damage. So it does like 6. So collect these, replenish your health and experience. More here. So here it says press E to glide. Of course, we can glide. He is a bat after all. So let's try that out. So press E. As you can see, the stamina goes quite far. But if we don't want to glide while jumping, we can also press Shift, and you can just glide from the floor. But that will be much faster. There's a little dash mechanic. Well, it doesn't last for a long time, so it goes very fast. So press E to glide. That's one mechanic as well. So 100%, if you press E to glide, it's only for the floor. Sorry, it's Shift to glide. It's only for the floor. We can't control if we're going up or down. So if we press E, we can of course now fall. Well, 100% that I will not make that. So I made this little ring that will boost the glide. So let's try that out. It's gonna boost. So over here it says press enter to interact with the NPC. So we go up here to the NPC. You see there's 2 of them. You press this one and just ask me what do I want. You press enter again. So he's asking us to collect 5 Lumen Orbs and bring him to his friend. Of course you press no, and we can come back and if we change our mind. So that's his friend over there. He's the same AI or model. So let's start this quest. So press yes. Great. We started the quest. So the quest is to find 5 Lumen Orbs. And we have to bring him to him, this little guy over here. So Lumen Orbs are these orbs over here. That's under. This is one orb. Okay. I've created this orb using the shader system. It's just a simple orb. It doesn't have a sphere or nothing. It's purely generated. Added some effects into it as well. As you can see, there is a particle effect inside. So if you collect 1, of course, the count here will go to 2. I'm not too sure why it was set to 1. That's something I have to look into. So we have to collect 5 of them. So if you go around here, press Q to see the amount of enemies. So there's 1, 2, 3, and I believe, oh, there he is. He's attacking already. Let's kill them very fast. Double kill. So we have to find 5 of them. So I found one. Oh, there's another one over there. And another one over here. Let's collect this one first. Collect this one. Can glide around the scene, of course. Of course, it doesn't last forever. We can't glide forever. There's one more here. So we're missing one more orb. So we're not too sure where it is. So we can just look into this little cave. Kill the enemies. The orb. As we can see, we have advanced to the quest. So in order to track our quest system, we can press C. We bring us our quest log. So here it says to collect the coins. Of course, it's not the coins we're collecting, it's the Illumin orbs that we have to collect. I just didn't rename this to be Illumin orbs. As we see, we collected 5, and the quest is ready to be turned in. Reward is 0 on the experience. We get 5, and the required level 1. So we're level 3 at the moment, but of course, it needs to be level 1 in order to progress the system. The other quest I have is we have to kill enemies around the area, which we already did, but we don't have it active in the scene, which is fine. So we're going to this NPC over here. We can turn in our quest. So if you press enter, we can interact with this NPC. We won't give him the coins yet, but we'll just see what this NPC here has to say first. So he says, oh, you collected the Illuminors, and we have to give him to his friend, and he'll give us a reward. And the reward is the 5 experience. So we're going to here and turn in the Luminors, and we get the experience. So that's how the quest system works. Of course, I will explain how the quest is being implemented into this game. So if you interact with him again, you just say the same words over and over again. So same goes for him. So we progress to the game so far. If we want to explore this area, we can. We can go back into collect more coins, play around the area. So here I also created a portal. So we press I to interact with the portal. So here, if we press I, we will be teleporting to a new location. Of course, this area is a little bit empty at the moment. I haven't added anything special to this area, but it does have a trigger, so the game is over and we have the NPC. So if you want to try again, of course, and if you load the game, we killed 15 enemies and it's 83%. completed. We'll ready to the game. We reset course to where we are into the start. So let's get into first of all get into how what we're implementing into this game. So I want to show first Maya. So this is a blockout scene that I made in Maya. Um, this is of course is the house for the NPC as we saw in the game. I'll show you again just really quickly. As you can see, this is the house that we built. So here in Maya, we can see that it's super simple. Um, I use primitive objects to create this house, and of course the platforms over here. The cubes, the planks over here, I've used a simple cube. So if we get this cube into our scene, and if you can find it, of course, it's a bit too small, so we just scale it a little bit. So how did I make this little cube here? So the cube was super simple to make. So all I did was just scaled it down into a small shape. If we press Control B, we will bevel um, this cube. So if we put a small segment into two and a small fraction as well, if you want it to be like this, like a little pill, of course, we can do it. Like I recommend doing this if you're also making character models. Oh, well, we're using a small fraction, so we put give it a fraction of, let's say, 0.5, 0.05. I can see that the cube looks still like a rectangle, which is fine. We press 3, we can see that the topology is way better than it previously is. So normally with the bevel, without the bevel mod added into this, it will look bad. So this is how it looks when you press 1, 2, or 3. This is how it will look. Well, of course, with the bevel, you can just add this small fraction into it with segment of 2, press 3, and then the topology is way better than it was. So this is how I built most of the assets into this scene. We just beveling, extruding as well. So of course they all look the same. We press 3 on all of them. 1, 2, 3. They all look the similar. The same thing goes for the pillars. Of course, they just started out with a simple cylinder. Cylinder looks like this, but if we bevel it as well, we can give it a very interesting shape. So a small segment of 2. Press 3. You can see it won't look as good. So what we have to do for this is Control C and just scale it up again. So the topology, if you press 3, it will look bad, but this is how it would look. So if you go into our vertex, no sorry, our edge, select all the edges, and then if you Control B, oh, Control B, and then we can give it a better bevel. So press 2, give a small fraction, let's say 0.04, press 3, and there we go. Way better than it was. So I did it all for this. Didn't take too long to make them. So I just doing the same process over and over again, just duplicating them. The same thing applies for the barrels. Here I just added the cube. Of course, I duplicated it to give it to this sphere as this spherical shape. And same rule applies to the tiles. Everything here is using the same technique. Super simple to use. Also for the trees as well. So this tree here is rigged at the moment. Well, we won't get into that today. So super simple way to model using this technique. Very recommended to use this technique if you're making houses or even small dioramas within Maya. And we're going to go into our characters. As we saw in the game, we have Lyle, the main player. We have the NPC. We have this little bug guy. This little bug guy, he is a asset from the Unity asset store. So, going to the packages. So, the asset is uh, somewhere here, but it is a Unity asset. I did not create this bug. Well, however, I did create this little guy and also the player, which is right over here. And also the enemy AI, which is right, where is he? Right here. So I use Blender to create my assets, my models. I find Blender easier to model characters. So let's get into our first model that we made. So this here is the first model that I made for the game. It didn't look great. As you can see, it's not the best at the moment because I didn't put too much effort into him. Well, it did give me inspiration to model this guy and the other guys as well. So over here, I'm not too sure why it's not letting me go closer. So let's go into object mode. So over here we have our rigified model. So if we go into our wireframe mode, we can see it's wireframe. Go into first view. You can see it's wireframe a little bit better. So the way I modeled this character, I used a cube as well. All my models started from a cube, so I use the cube, and I also use subdivision surface, of course, to smooth out the the edges, of course, and I just extruding it out. The hair as well, we just super simple to use. It was just a cube, and then I just use subdivision surface to smooth it out and just duplicated them to create the hair. Same goes for the eyebrows, the mouth as well, and the headpiece. For the body, I used the same method, the boat and the arms. The wings were different because I had to use a image as a reference to create the wings, and also for the bones as well, to rig it. So over here we have our second player, which is of course Lyle, which we can see within Unity. So Lyle here is very special. He is my best creation that I did for the player. So I use the uh, same technique. So I just started from the cube, started using simple shapes to create the wings, the belt, and of course I also use sculpting to add more detail into to the player. As we can see, we have over here. Um, I just like push this out, added little details, and the same goes for this little part here. I use my Huion tablet to sculpt to add more detail, and of course Rigify to rig the this player. The same rule applies for this AI here. Of course, he's not fully finished. We just we can add detail into him, extrude out these little points here. And of course I also use ZBrush to give it a little hand. The same goes for this guy here. So this guy is not on T-pose because I didn't model him in T-pose, I just made him into a A-pose because of the wings getting in the way. So I thought it would be easy to model him to a T-pose. You see the wings are way bigger than this AI, and of course um, I use as a reference to this one as well. It's way bigger, way better. The bones are standing more out. The wing bones, I mean. And of course we have our NPC. So these are my models in my game. So we started with this one, and then I wasn't happy enough with him, so I created this guy, and I got inspired to create these two enemy AIs. So this enemy AI here, this is a ground enemy and this is a flying enemy. So in here, he's not being introduced in the scene because there is a bug with this AI that he goes through walls, and I'm not too sure what is causing the AI to do that. So if I show you real quick, it's not using a nav mesh like the other enemy AIs. So as you can see, he just dives, and I'm not too sure to why he does that, but he does fly around the scene. I'm not certain why he does that. See, he just flies. It's something I need to look into his code to see what's going on with his um, gliding ability to see what's going on with his gliding ability. And of course I'm using Fmods for my audio system. So we see here what's going on with our audio system. So I'm using Fmod for my audio. I'm going to Fmod real quickly. So in Fmod we have our three files here. We have our asset, banks, and events. Assets here we can just drag and drop our audio files into here. The banks are used to add the events, which is very useful. And of course we have our events. Here we have our ambience, which is just the wind. The menu UI doesn't have anything yet, but we can just drag and drop our of course our assets into here, into the event bank. Music, of course, it's using a parameter, as we can see here. There's an area called gray area and blue area. The way I created this area is this parameter. If you go into Windows I'm going to preset browser, and then we can create a new parameter. And of course I used continuous and just named the area. And of course it's set to 0 and 1. It's very important that you remember this, because 0 and 1 is basically like, if you're in area 0, it's playing this music, but if you go into area 2, area 1, it will trigger this, the second music, which is this one. So that's why I implemented in Unity with through code. So here we have our area change trigger, and of course we can say here through a gray area or blue area, wherever we decide. Of course we can add more parameters to identify which area we want to trigger. So I'm going to our music change trigger here, of course. It's a enum. So into the script real quick. So this is how I'm calling the fmod audio system. So we have our area, and then we have, of course, a music area, which is a enum that I mentioned. And of course, we have on trigger enter. Super simple code to set up. And of course, we go into our music area. It has gray areas set to 0 and blue areas set to 1. And like I said, it's very important that you remember which one is which when you're creating the parameter. So here is set continuous, the name of the parameter, which is area, and 0 to 1, of course. So this one is set to 0 and this one is set to 1. And of course for the SFX as well, we have our coin, our AIs, and our player. The one thing that I forgot to mention is that I am using Ink for my quest system. So Ink here, if you go into our main, Ink dialog folder, if you go into our main, this is where my Ink dialog is being called. Ink is very similar to how C# works, with variables, of course. So here we're getting the quest ID, which is called collect coins quest ID. And of course, collect coin quest is the name of the script. We're just going to Unity here really quickly. So if we go into our resources, quest and collect coins quest, this is the prefab collect coins quest, and we require level 1, of course. Prefab here is just an empty prefab, just with the script. Super simple. Well, of course, I have way more scripts that's been called. Well, it is beyond enable, and this is being called the Illumin orbs, of course. So whenever we collect the coins, or sorry, the Illumin orb, it's being tracked. The quest system is tracking the amount of Illumin orbs being collected. And of course, here's how we start the quest and how we finish the quest. Okie dokie. Thank you for watching my video.